Most people think the internet is just a collection of websites, videos, and social media accounts. Billions of pages exist online, and every second, thousands more are created. But hidden beneath everything we see every day are forgotten servers, abandoned websites, corrupted files, and strange corners of the internet that almost nobody visits. Some people believe these places are simply old pieces of technology left behind. Others believe they're something else entirely. Tonight's stories are fictional, but each one explores a terrifying question. What if the darkest places on the internet weren't empty? What if they were waiting for someone curious enough to find them? The first story begins with a college student who couldn't sleep one rainy night. Like millions of people, he started scrolling through random live streams, looking for something interesting to watch. Most streams had hundreds of viewers. Some had only a handful. Then he found one, a live stream, with absolutely zero viewers. No title, no description, no profile picture, just a black thumbnail and a single red button that read, Live. At first, it looked like nothing, but within minutes, he realized he wasn't the one watching the stream was watching him. Rain tapped softly against the windows as Ethan stared at the glowing screen in his tiny college apartment. It was nearly 2 in the morning. Sleep refused to come, and the silence felt heavier than usual. Like countless nights before, he opened a video streaming site and began scrolling through random live broadcasts. Gaming, music, late-night podcasts, city webcams. Nothing held his attention. Out of boredom, he changed the search filter to lowest viewers first. Hundreds of streams appeared. Most had 1 or 2 viewers. Then he noticed something strange. One live stream had 0 viewers. Not one. The thumbnail was almost completely black, with only the faint outline of a room. The title was blank. The username consisted of random letters and numbers. No profile picture. No comments. No description. Only one red word beneath it. Live. Curiosity won. He clicked. The stream loaded instantly. The video quality was surprisingly clear. It showed a small apartment living room, lit by a single lamp. Nothing moved. A couch faced an old television. Books rested on a shelf. A jacket hung beside the front door. Everything looked completely ordinary. There wasn't even any sound. Ethan watched for nearly 5 minutes before laughing to himself. What a waste of bandwidth. Just as he moved the cursor toward the close button, the lamp flickered. Only once. He stopped. Maybe someone had finally entered the room. Another minute passed. Nothing. Then, a chair near the dining table shifted backward by only a few inches. No footsteps. No person. It simply moved. A chill crawled across Ethan's shoulders. He leaned closer to the monitor. The camera never shook. There were no editing cuts. Everything looked completely live. Trying to prove there had to be a logical explanation, Ethan opened another tab and searched for the strange username. No results. He copied the stream's URL. The page couldn't be found. Confused, he returned to the broadcast. It was still playing. Almost an hour passed. The room remained empty. Yet tiny things continued changing. A picture frame rotated slightly. A cabinet door slowly opened. A coffee mug disappeared from the table. Each change happened so gradually that it was almost impossible to notice unless you had been watching from the beginning. His curiosity turned into obsession. The next night, he returned. The stream was still live, still 0 viewers, still untitled, but something had changed. The camera angle was different. Now it pointed toward a hallway, leading deeper into the apartment. A single ceiling light buzzed overhead. Halfway down the hallway stood a closed door. Ethan stared for several minutes. Then, the doorknob turned. Slowly, painfully slowly. The door opened only a few inches. Darkness waited behind it. No one came out. The door remained open. He replayed the last few seconds in his mind. Had he really seen movement? Or was exhaustion playing tricks on him? Without thinking, Ethan stood from his desk to grab a bottle of water from the kitchen. When he returned, less than 30 seconds later, the hallway camera was gone. The stream now showed the living room again. Except, the jacket hanging beside the door was missing. His heartbeat quickened. He paused, looked toward his own apartment entrance. His own black jacket wasn't hanging on the hook anymore. He frowned. He clearly remembered leaving it there. Walking to the entrance, he found it folded neatly on the kitchen chair instead. Maybe he'd moved it earlier. Maybe. Trying to ignore the uneasy feeling, he sat back down. The stream continued. Suddenly, a notification appeared across the screen. Viewer connected. Ethan looked beneath the video. The viewer count had changed. From 0 to 1. He smiled nervously. Finally, someone else had joined. He opened the chat. No messages. Only his own account appeared in the viewers list. Nobody else. Yet the viewer count remained 1. Then, the number changed again. 2. He refreshed the page. Still only his own username appeared. 3, 4, 5. No new users. No comments. Nothing. The viewer count climbed until it reached 50. Yet Ethan remained completely alone inside the chat. His palms became sweaty. Something wasn't adding up. Then the apartment lights inside the live stream suddenly went out. Darkness filled the screen. For several seconds, nothing. A faint sound emerged through the speakers. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Close to the microphone. Ethan instinctively lowered his own breathing. The audio became clearer. Footsteps. Someone was walking inside the apartment. The footsteps echoed across wooden floors. Closer. Closer. Finally, a flashlight beam appeared from the hallway. Someone held it. But whoever carried the light remained hidden behind the darkness. The beam slowly swept across the room. Bookshelf, television, couch, coffee table. Then, it stopped, pointing directly into the camera, as if whoever held the flashlight knew someone was watching. The light remained perfectly still. For almost 30 seconds, then it switched off. The stream ended. Black screen. No explanation. The following evening, Ethan rushed home from class. The stream had returned. Same account, same apartment. This time, the camera faced a bedroom. The bed looked strangely familiar. Gray blanket, wooden desk. Small bookshelf, blue curtains. His stomach tightened. It looked almost identical to his own bedroom. He laughed nervously. Thousands of apartments probably looked alike. He kept watching. On the desk inside the live stream sat a white coffee mug with a tiny crack near the handle. Ethan slowly turned toward his own desk. His mug had the exact same crack. He froze. The room in the live stream wasn't similar anymore. It was identical. Every book, every cable, every scratch on the furniture, everything matched. He spun around his apartment. Nothing seemed unusual. Then, he noticed something impossible. The livestream camera seemed to be positioned exactly where his bedroom doorway stood, as though someone invisible was standing there, watching him. His breathing became uneven. He whispered, "No." The figure finally appeared. A tall silhouette stepped into the room shown on the livestream. Its face remained hidden in darkness. It didn't walk normally. Its movements were slow, jerky, almost mechanical. It stopped beside the desk. Then, very slowly, it turned toward the camera, toward Ethan. The figure raised one hand and pointed directly at him. At that exact moment, Ethan heard a sound behind him. A single floorboard creaked inside his apartment. He didn't move. He couldn't. Another creak, closer. His heart pounded so loudly it drowned out the rain outside. Summoning every ounce of courage, he slowly turned his head. Nothing. The room was empty. He looked back at the monitor. The live stream now showed his chair, empty, exactly as it was while he had turned around. Then, someone walked into the frame behind the chair, a dark silhouette, standing precisely where Ethan had been seconds earlier. The screen suddenly filled with violent static. A piercing electronic screech blasted through his speakers. The live stream disconnected. He immediately searched for the account. Nothing. The username no longer existed. His browser history had vanished. The bookmarked page disappeared. Even the screenshots he had taken during the week refused to open, each displaying only a corrupted black image. Ethan never found the live stream again. He stopped browsing random broadcasts after that night. But every now and then, usually around 2 in the morning, his computer monitor turns itself on. The screen remains completely black, except for one tiny detail. In the bottom corner, a red word quietly appears: Live. Aiden had always been fascinated by forgotten corners of the internet. While most people spent their evenings watching videos or scrolling through social media, he searched old forums, abandoned blogs, and archived websites that hadn't been visited in years. There was something strangely exciting about discovering digital places that the rest of the world had forgotten. One Friday night, while browsing a discussion board that hadn't been updated since 2011, he found a single reply posted by an account named Last Visitor. The message contained only one sentence. "Don't open it after midnight." Below the sentence was a strange web address. No explanation, no comments, just a link. Most people would have ignored it. Aiden clicked. The page loaded almost instantly. It was surprisingly simple. A completely black background. No images, no advertisements, no menu. Only a white countdown timer. 000458 was counting down from 5 minutes. Nothing else. Thinking it was some kind of internet puzzle, Aiden leaned back in his chair and waited. When the timer reached 0, the page refreshed by itself. A single sentence appeared. "Welcome back." Aiden frowned. Back? He had never visited this website before. Below the message was a small button labeled Enter. The moment he clicked it, a new page opened. At the top was his full name. Not his username, not his email address, his real name. His smile disappeared. He immediately checked the browser address. The site wasn't asking for permission. It hadn't requested any personal information. Yet somehow, it knew exactly who he was. Trying to stay calm, he convinced himself the website had somehow accessed old browser data. That had to be the explanation. He continued. The next page displayed his date of birth. Then the name of his elementary school. Then the street where he had grown up. Information that wasn't publicly available anywhere online. A cold knot formed in his stomach. He closed the browser. Or at least, he tried to. The window refused to close. Every click was ignored. The website simply advanced to another page. This time, it showed a photograph. It was his current apartment building, taken from across the street. The image looked recent, very recent. Rain covered the sidewalks. The same rain he could hear falling outside his own window. His pulse quickened. He rushed to the curtains and looked outside. Nothing unusual. Cars passed normally. Streetlights glowed in the darkness. He returned to the computer. The website had changed again. A new message appeared. Look left. Aiden slowly turned toward the bookshelf beside his desk. One book had fallen onto the floor. He stared at it for several seconds. Maybe it had slipped. Maybe the shelf wasn't level. Trying to ignore the uneasy feeling, he picked it up. When he placed it back, his computer speakers crackled. A robotic voice whispered one sentence. "You looked." The browser refreshed again. Another photograph appeared. This time, it showed the inside of his apartment. The angle looked impossible. The picture seemed to have been taken from the ceiling, directly above him. He instinctively looked upward. Only a white ceiling fan rotated slowly. Nothing else. His breathing became shallow. He unplugged the internet cable from the back of the computer. The connection icon disappeared. No internet. Yet the website continued loading new pages. Each one opened faster than the last. Then the predictions began. The first message read, "Your phone will ring in 10 seconds. Aiden laughed nervously. 5 seconds later, his phone rang. Unknown number. He ignored it. The website refreshed. "You should have answered." A minute later, another prediction appeared. "Your neighbor will knock exactly 3 times." Before he could react, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow knocks echoed through the apartment. He remained frozen. No voice followed. No footsteps. Only silence. He checked the peephole. The hallway was empty. When he looked back at the screen, another sentence had appeared. Too slow. His hands began shaking. He finally forced the browser to close by shutting down the computer. The monitor turned black. Relieved, he stood up. Then, the monitor turned back on by itself. The website was still open, waiting. The next page contained only one photograph. It showed the front door of his apartment. Someone stood outside. The figure wore a dark hood. Its face couldn't be seen. A timestamp in the corner read, "Liv." Aiden stared in disbelief. He quietly approached the door. The peephole showed nothing. No one. He stepped back. The website refreshed. The hooded figure was now closer, standing directly in front of the door. Its head tilted slightly toward the camera. Then another refresh. The figure had disappeared. Aiden exhaled in relief. Until he noticed something behind the figure's previous position. His apartment number. The photograph had been taken from inside the hallway, only a few feet away. Another message appeared. "Open the door." He refused. The page refreshed. Wrong choice. The lights in his apartment flickered once. then twice. Then everything went dark. Only the computer monitor remained illuminated. On the screen was a live image of his living room. Not a recording. Live. He watched himself standing there. The camera slowly zoomed in behind him. A shadow emerged. From the darkness near the hallway, it moved silently toward his back. Aiden spun around. Nothing. When he looked at the monitor again, the shadow was gone. The website displayed one final sentence. It already came inside. The computer instantly shut off. Every light in the apartment returned. Heart racing, Aiden grabbed his keys and left the building without looking back. The next morning, he returned with two friends. His apartment was completely normal. Nothing was missing. Nothing was damaged. His computer worked perfectly. The mysterious website no longer existed. The web address returned an error. Internet archives showed no record of it ever being online. Even stranger, the old forum post where he had found the link had disappeared as if it had never been written. Years later, Aiden still refuses to browse forgotten websites. Because every now and then, just before midnight, his browser opens by itself. A blank black page appears, and in the center of the screen, a white countdown begins. 000459. Waiting for someone to press enter. Lucas had worked as a freelance software developer for nearly 10 years. He specialized in recovering corrupted hard drives and restoring files that everyone else believed were beyond repair. Most of the time, the job was boring. Broken family photos, damaged business documents, lost videos. Nothing unusual. Until one evening, a former client mailed him an old external hard drive that had been discovered inside a demolished office building. The note attached to it read, "I couldn't open one file. Maybe you can." Curious, Lucas connected the drive to an isolated computer that had no internet connection. The drive contained thousands of ordinary documents, invoices, PDFs, old spreadsheets. Only one file stood out. It had no extension, no recognizable icon. Its name consisted of a single symbol, hashtag. The file size was strange, 12 KB. When Lucas tried to open it, nothing happened. No error message, no application launched. It simply refused to respond. Assuming it was badly corrupted, he copied the file to his offline workstation for further analysis. Before shutting down for the night, he checked its size one last time. Still, 12 KB. The next morning, something impossible had happened. The file now measured 27 KB. Lucas frowned. No internet, no software updates, no background processes. Nothing should have been capable of changing it. He blamed a glitch and made a note of the new size. The following day, it had grown again, 81 KB. This time he created a checksum. Hours later, the checksum had changed. The file was rewriting itself. He disconnected every cable from the computer, disabled wireless hardware, removed external devices. The workstation was now completely isolated. Still, each morning the mysterious file continued growing. Within a week, it reached 2.3 GB. Lucas finally managed to extract part of its contents. Inside were hundreds of video files. None had names, only dates. But the dates made no sense. Some were years in the past, others were years in the future. He opened the oldest recording. Static filled the screen. Gradually, the image became clear. A quiet office, old computers, employees working normally. Nothing unusual, until everyone stopped moving at the exact same moment. Every person slowly turned toward the camera together, as though they had heard someone call their names. Then, the recording ended. Lucas felt a chill but continued. The second video showed the same office, completely abandoned. Dust covered everything. Chairs lay overturned. A calendar on the wall displayed a date from nearly 15 years earlier. Again, nothing happened for several minutes. Then one computer monitor turned on by itself. Across the screen appeared a single sentence. "Don't copy it." Lucas paused the video. He checked the file creation date. Impossible. The warning had existed long before the mysterious file was ever discovered. Trying to stay rational, he opened another recording. This one showed his own workshop. The same desk. The same shelves. The same coffee mug. The timestamp was dated tomorrow. He laughed nervously. Someone had fabricated an elaborate prank. That had to be it. In the video, Lucas entered the room carrying a flashlight. Exactly the flashlight he had purchased 2 weeks earlier. He sat at his desk, opened the mysterious file, then suddenly looked toward the camera with absolute terror. The video ended before revealing why. Lucas checked the clock. Tomorrow's date hadn't arrived yet. He closed the recording and tried to forget about it. The next evening, everything happened exactly as shown. Without thinking, he carried the flashlight into the workshop. He sat in the chair, opened the file, then remembered the video. His blood ran cold. He slowly lifted his eyes from the monitor. Nothing. No camera. No person. No movement. Relieved, he smiled. Maybe the prediction had ended there. The file size updated. 9.8 GB. A new folder appeared automatically. It hadn't existed seconds earlier. Its name was today's date. Inside waited another video. Hands trembling, Lucas opened it. The footage began with him, opening that exact folder. The recording mirrored everything he was doing in real time. Every movement matched perfectly. He leaned closer. The version of himself inside the video did the same. Then, the recording continued. Several seconds ahead, Video Lucas frowned, looked toward the workshop doorway. Lucas instinctively looked there too. Nothing. He returned to the monitor. Video Lucas slowly stood up. His expression changed from confusion to fear. He whispered something. Lucas turned up the speakers. The words became clear. "Don't turn around." Lucas froze. Every instinct screamed at him to look behind. Instead, he stared at the recording. Video Lucas remained perfectly still. Then, a pale hand appeared over his shoulder. Long fingers, unnaturally thin, gripping the back of his chair. Lucas stopped breathing. The hand in the video tightened. Video Lucas slowly closed his eyes. The recording ended. Silence filled the room. Lucas sat frozen. His heart pounded against his ribs. Then, he heard it. A soft scraping sound. Directly behind his chair, he squeezed his eyes shut. Seconds passed. Then a minute. The sound stopped. Gathering every ounce of courage, he spun around. The room was empty. No hand. No figure. Nothing. He laughed shakily, convinced his mind had betrayed him. Then he noticed something on the floor behind his chair. A trail of fine gray dust. As if something had been standing there. The computer beeped again. The file had reached 31 GBs. A final folder appeared. Its name was simply Last Recording. Lucas hesitated before opening it. The video started with a view of his workshop. Empty. The timestamp read, 1 minute into the future. Nothing happened. 30 seconds passed. Then the workshop door slowly opened. A tall silhouette walked inside. Its body was completely black, absorbing every trace of light. It crossed the room silently and stopped behind Lucas's chair. The figure remained motionless, watching, waiting. The recording ended before revealing its face. Lucas refused to look behind him. Instead, he grabbed the computer's power cable and pulled it from the wall. The monitor went black. The room fell silent. He packed the hard drive into a metal case, drove to an industrial recycling facility before sunrise, and watched the drive being destroyed. Crushed, shredded, melted, gone. Or so he believed. Months later, Lucas bought a brand new computer, brand new hard drive. Fresh operating system, no old backups, no transferred files. One night, while organizing documents, he noticed a single unfamiliar file sitting alone on his desktop. Its name consisted of one symbol, #file size 12 KB. Lucas didn't click it. He shut the computer down immediately. The next morning, without ever being opened, the file had grown to 27 KB. The internet feels endless. Every day, billions of people search, click, stream, and download without giving it a second thought. We assume that if something appears on our screen, it's just another website, another file, another video. But what if one click was all it took? Tonight's 3 fictional stories explored that terrifying possibility. A live stream that seemed to watch its only viewer, a forgotten website that knew far more than it should have, and a mysterious file that kept growing, predicting events before they happened. None of these stories are real, but they remind us of one unsettling truth. The internet is so vast that no one can honestly say they've seen all of it. Some links stay hidden, some files are never meant to be opened, and some pages are better left unfound. So, before you leave, tell me in the comments which story disturbed you the most. If you enjoyed these fictional horror stories and want more chilling tales every week, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next nightmare. Until next time, sleep well. And if you're browsing the internet late tonight, be careful what you click, because somewhere, in a forgotten corner of the web, something might already be waiting for you.